to Harrison Tax and Accounting Guys. I'm Luke Bowman, your host. I have a special guest on here today. This is Spencer Ford. He's also from Conservative Financial Solutions and Harrison Tax and Accounting, where he's the COO. For CFS, he's a CFP, so he kind of works on the financial planning side with a lot of our retired folks and kind of making sure that they're taken care of from retirement on for the rest of their life. So when it comes to the financial planning aspect, I wanted to have Spencer on to talk to you guys that may not be comfortable in the current situation. We know the market's been kind of crazy with COVID and with other situations right now, but for those people who aren't in the market or aren't very interested in investing their money, what can you tell us about IRAs, retirement accounts, and why people should be in the market today?
Yeah, one of the biggest questions I often get is, should I put my money in a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA? Or even a big one, because a lot of companies have employer-sponsored plans, is should I put money in my traditional 401k or my Roth 401k? And a lot of people don't realize that their company actually offers a Roth 401k. And those are becoming increasingly more popular, so if you are putting all of your money into a 401k right now or a traditional 401k, and you don't know if a Roth 401k is available to you, I would definitely call and ask. And if it is comfortable for you and you can, I would actually switch a lot of those contributions over to the Roth 401k. And I can give a kind of a quick example of why we promote that and so forth.
Yeah,
so, I don't know where you sit on the side of the aisle or anything like that, but I'm a firm believer that taxes are going up in the future. $26 trillion in debt. I see the entitlement programs. I see no situation in which taxes aren't going to increase. So I usually just give like this really Mickey Mouse example. So let's assume you have $100 to invest, and you can either put that into a traditional IRA or you can put that into a Roth IRA. So you say, okay, I'm going to put this $100 in this traditional IRA because I don't have to pay tax on it now. The issue is as that $100 grows, it grows tax deferred. So when you take that money out in the future, let's say it grows to $200. Take all that money out in the future, you're going to owe tax on the full $200. So let's say you're in the 20% tax bracket, you owe $40 on that money. Well, if you would have made the decision, hey, I'm going to put that $100 in a Roth IRA, yes, I have to pay the tax now. So it takes me $120 if I'm in the 20% tax bracket to get $100 into my Roth IRA. But that money grows tax free. So when that $100 becomes $200 and you take all of it out, all that $200 is not taxed whatsoever, so you only ever paid $20 in tax as opposed to $40 in tax. And you can see how that even compounds even greater if tax rates increase, and now you're not at 20% like you are today. Maybe you're at 25% or 30% in the future, which I don't think is outrageous to think that that's where we're going to be.
Yeah, no, definitely. Here in practice, what we talk about a lot is what used to be the 12, the 10, the 12, the 22% bracket is now the 20, the 24% bracket. So they could even double.
Yeah.
And frankly, when it comes to doubling, that's kind of scary when it comes to talking about your retirement money. So from the example that Spencer just gave us, in our opinion, it's obvious that Roth IRAs are more beneficial to put your money into. But do you want to talk to us a little bit about the regulations and rules and why it's not always a terrible idea to have traditional IRA money or pay into that 401k?
Well, specifically if you're a high wage earner, you might have some difficulty getting into a Roth IRA. So there's some rules that you have to be aware of that you'll have to navigate and so forth. It doesn't mean that you can't, but typically what will happen is you actually may have to contribute to a traditional IRA first or traditional 401k first and then convert later on. But really outside of that, even if you're a high wage earner, and I would still say contribute to the Roth IRA. Really, I think what you're referring to is conventional wisdom used to be put your money away tax deferred, tax deferred, tax deferred, because when you retire, you'll be in a lower tax bracket than you are now.
Exactly.
And I think that used to be conventional wisdom. I think that's completely flipped on its head. I think retirees, number one is when you retire, most people's goal is not to retire on less. They want to maintain their standard of living. So if you're going to maintain your standard of living, well, you're probably bringing in close to the same amount of income that you were bringing in before you retired. So how are you going to be in a lower tax bracket anyways?
Exactly.
And then also, if taxes go up, maybe you are making less, but now that less is being taxed at a greater percentage. So to me, it just doesn't make sense at this point, at this stage of the game, at this point in time. Even if taxes don't increase, If they just stay the same, you're still better off putting into a Roth IRA. And I'm not telling anybody anything different than I'm doing in my personal life. And that's what I tell my clients and so forth. Every dollar that I'm able to convert in my retirement savings, it all gets converted. All my contributions go to a Roth IRA. I am hoarding as much tax-free money for the future as I possibly can.
Exactly. And you guys heard it there from a CFP. That's what he's doing with his own dollars in his pocket. So he's putting his money where his mouth is, and that's what he's doing today. So Spencer, before I let you go, I want to congratulate you. Spencer has just become a father to baby boy Silas. We're so excited for him. We're glad to still have him around. So new part of the family that we're excited for. So Spencer, thanks for coming on today.
That's my pleasure.
Any questions that you guys have, feel free to call in to Harrison Tax and Accounting at 513-367-5566, and I can always forward you guys along to Spencer. Again, Spencer, I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.